So yeah, we're gonna start with our breath, and as always, sit in a way that feels comfortable to you. If your eyes want to close, that's available. And take a few slow and steady breaths, perhaps just through the nose. Otherwise, you can always exhale out your mouth. Really just start to feel and allow that softening in your body with each exhalation. And take a moment just to observe the posture. Notice where you can grow just a little taller in the column of the spine without being too rigid. Feel a softening in the muscles of the neck and the shoulders down your back. And take a few more nice deep breaths into your belly. Maybe observe the feeling of the breath as it enters the body. And notice the breath as you exhale. Take one more complete breath in and exhale completely. From there, lower the chin to your chest and take a few half neck circles at your own pace. You might start slow and with smaller movements. And as it feels in your body, perhaps expand into full circles, lifting your chin. Maybe think about drawing circles at the end of your nose. And you can, of course, spiral the other way when you're ready. And then we're going to keep the ear to your left shoulder for a few breaths. The right hand might float by your hip here, and you're tilting your head away from that floating hand. So we're trying to create more space on the side of the neck. You can start with some little movements, rotating the fingers, changing the direction of your wrists. Option to take that spinning movement into the upper arm bone. Maybe linger at whatever the end range looks like for you today. And another option you can try on here is palm forward, fingers to the back. And as you breathe in, lift your chin away from that hand. And then option to turn the gaze down toward the left hip, tucking the chin toward that shoulder. And then exhale, release, hands to the body, chin to the chest. We're going to rock the ear all the way to the other side and float the opposite hand, starting with any movement that feels good. Taking those steady breaths through the nose. And notice if you can keep your chest proud here, but shoulders relaxed. Yeah, maybe taking the movement into your upper arm with more rotation. And if you want to keep palm forward, fingers can reach to the wall behind you, chin can lift up and away from that hand. And then maybe swivel the gaze down toward the other hip, another full breath. And as you're ready, release, hands back to the lap, chin to your chest. Inhale and take your gaze all the way up to the sky. And then exhale, chin back to your chest. Once again, deep breath in as you look up. Then exhale, lower. We'll take it into some seated cat-cow. You might hold this first one, lift the chest, arch the back, shoulder blades slide together and down the back away from the ears, chin can float. And with a breath out, round your spine, maybe create more of a C shape. You can lean back here, holding on to the knees, the shins. Feel that space between the shoulder blades expand. And then option to go back and forth with your breath. Inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, round the spine. And maybe you want to hold either shape, but do what works for you. A few more cycles of breath. Nice. Let's take one more round, nice and slow. And then start to find a neutral spine. And then option to draw circles with your rib cage. So think about kind of your upper body moving over to one side, reaching forward with the heart, rocking through to the other side, and then pulling the belly in as you shift to the back. And you can continue a few circles one way, maybe shift your weight from one sitting bone to the other. Kind of like you're stirring a pot here, but with the upper torso. And as you're ready, we'll reverse circles the other direction, giving our internal organs a bit of a massage. And you're going to make those circles just a little smaller and smaller until you find that nice point of equilibrium where you're sitting up nice and tall. Here, the arms can reach up by your ears, really lengthen through the sides of the body. And then exhale, twist to the left. And you can do whatever works for you with the hands. Maybe the front arm comes across to the opposite thigh. Maybe the back fingertips are on the earth. And perhaps the gaze is looking over the back shoulder. Feel as though there's a string attached to the top of the head and someone's gently pulling you to the sky. And with an inhale, we'll reach up, face forward, and then exhale, pull to the opposite side. Do your best to keep the chest proud here and shoulders relaxed, along with those full breaths down into the deepest part of your lungs. As you breathe in, reach up, face forward once again. We're going to rock over to one side. You can have the bottom hand on the earth, or it can come across to the opposite thigh, your choice. Yeah, find those expansive breaths. Open those muscles between the ribs and relax that bottom shoulder away from your ear. Yeah, maybe bend the bottom arm. You can add some circles at the top arm here. Nice full breath. Option to sync the breath and movement. So inhale as you reach up and overhead. And exhale as you sweep all the way across. Yeah, notice how it feels to encourage opening across the upper chest as you reach up and back. Maybe just a couple more. Next one's going to float you all the way through to the other side. Take a moment here to land, grounding through your sitting bones, expanding those muscles in the rib cage, and relaxing that bottom shoulder. Add those circles if you like. Nice full breaths in and long exhales. Yeah, a few more. Beautiful. Next one, you're going to float all the way through to the other side, and an option just to keep rocking side to side. You might continue with the arms up and overhead. Alternatively, you might choose to sweep the arms out in front of you and then plant the bottom hand and peel open. Keep it going. A few more breaths. Nice. Again. This time you can come into a forward fold. You can keep it easy here. Maybe just the fingertips on the earth in front of you. Maybe the palms or the forearms melt closer to the ground and the head and neck relaxes. You might choose stillness at center or a little rocking in the torso from side to side. Feel free to keep the head relaxed. And notice if you can send the breath to the back of your lungs. Just a couple more breaths. And use your inhale to slowly rise back to your seat. And pause there. We're coming to our hands and knees next, so shift to all fours. Once you land there, hands are about under your shoulders, knees under your hips. And you're going to start with some circles here. And you can choose however large or small those circles want to be. You can go faster or slower or just linger around the edges of your mat. You might tuck your toes and lower the hips closer to your heels. Maybe rock a bit more from side to side. Or shift forward and back, lowering the front of the hips toward the earth. Couple more breaths to do you. Nice. And then we're coming to all fours, and we'll start with the wrists here. So thumbs to the top of the mat, fingers out to the sides. Hands are maybe shoulder wide or even a little closer for this one. Start to rock your weight from one hand to the other. And here it's cool to let your chest melt down and the head to relax completely. You might see how it feels to actively press your knuckles and fingertips into the ground, especially the side that you're leaning into. And then from here, you might choose to turn your fingers in the direction of your knees. And maybe you do this one at a time. Maybe they don't want to go all the way around. Listen to the body here. If this works for you and you're looking for more, hands press down and bum shifts back. Maybe you add some movement with your spine, some more traditional cat and cows. You can always undo the hands. Nice. Last breath. And then perhaps shake out the wrist. You got the option to do one more. This one maybe one hand at a time. Palm up, back of the wrist all the way on the earth. So instead of just the knuckles, see if you can press all the way to the wrist crease. You can play with opening and closing your fingers. And if you have yet to do so, let's switch sides. Same rules apply. And once you feel complete there, we're going to shift high to our knees. If you have blocks and you want to sit on blocks, that's great. If you want to stay tall on the knees, also a good choice. And if you want to tuck your toes and lower to your heels, that's available. We're going to actually, let's open the arms nice and wide. Take a breath here. Feel that expansion. And as you exhale, sweep one arm underneath the other and then option to grab opposite shoulders. You might start here. Some of you might press your forearms together, and then maybe a couple of you with the palms to touch. So find what feels good in your body. You're going to lift the elbows to about shoulder height. And if thumbs are by your face, thumbs draw away from your face. With an inhale, you're going to squeeze the arms and lift up, maybe look up. And as you exhale, lengthen the elbows away from the body, start to round just the upper back. We'll repeat that. So inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, round just the upper back. Spread the space between the shoulder blades. Once again, inhale, reach. And as you exhale, round. This time, inhale, take the arms nice and wide. Expand the chest. If you've got the toes tucked, you might come to the tops of the feet for this one, or if you prefer to stay high on the knees, that's great too. Remember which arm you had on top. Do the opposite this time if you need to check. So option 1, Macarena arms. Option 2, forearms pressing together, and 3, palms touch. Lift up when you're ready with an inhale. Squeeze the arms together. Exhale, round just the upper back. So do your best not to fold at the waist. 2 more as you're ready. Inhale, reach. Exhale, curl. Last one with your breath. This time as you breathe in, arms spread wide. So option here to come high onto the knees. And if it's comfortable for you to do so, you might clasp your hands behind your back. You can also grab opposite forearms. And if you have something to extend your reach, feel free to use it. Otherwise, knuckles reaching down. We're peeling open the upper chest, maybe lifting the chin. or just gazing out in front of you. Couple breaths. And you might choose to just stay tall here with this chest nice and proud. A few of you might start to fold forward at the hips and then reach the arms up and away from the body. Maybe the crown of the head comes closer to the ground. If it does, then try not to put more than 20% of the body weight on the head here. Couple breaths. When you're ready to release, slowly rise the same way you arrived. You can undo the hands. And if it's comfortable here, you might sit back on the heels for a moment with the palms facing up. Option to soften the gaze and just tune into your breath. See if you can slow your breathing down for just a moment. And then you can come into either embryo pose or child's pose. So embryo pose, knees might stay close. Arms can come behind your sides by your hips, and head can relax down toward the ground. Focusing on those expansive breaths into the back of the body. You might stay still, or you might rock from side to side, maybe just the forehead or perhaps the hips. And if this feels good to you, feel free to hang there. If you want to take extended child's pose, you're going to widen the knees. Arms are going to reach to the top of the mat, and head and heart melt back down toward the ground. Again, you have the option for stillness or that rocking motion in the head and the hips. And if you're not yet there, option to reach the arms out in front of you. This time, palms can turn up toward the sky. It is helpful to have the knees wide for this one. You're going to keep left palm facing up and then slide the right fingertips in toward the right knee. Use your right hand to press down and then rotate your chest away from the ground. So we're getting heavy on that bottom forearm. And you might just rock the chest here. So let the chest come back down to the ground and then press into the right hand and peel the chest away from the earth. So you can just repeat that movement, kind of opening and closing the chest to the mat and away from the earth. Yeah, it's your pace here, or you can just hold and breathe. Just an option to add this rocking movement. One more deep breath. And on the next inhale, both arms can reach to the top of the mat. Palms can face up, forearms press down. Take another breath. Really elongate through the sides of the body. This time, right palm faces up and left fingertips come in toward the left knee. You're going to use that left hand to press down and then turn your chest away from the ground. And just repeat that. Add that rocking motion, rotating from the mid and upper back. Yeah. Few more. And again, if it feels good, just to hold by pressing down through the left fingers and getting heavy on the bottom forearm. You've got options. Maybe one more deep breath. And when you're ready, return to center. Palms are either up or down, your choice. You can also choose to bend your elbows and bring your hands together, thumbs to the nape of your neck. You might choose to press down through the arms here, maybe shift your weight from the back of one arm to the other a few times. And then let's release. Plant the hands, shift through to hands and knees. Adjust the knees under your hips. And we're going to start with the left leg to the back of the mat, toes on the ground. Lengthen through that heel until you feel a stretch in the back of your leg. We're going to rock forward and back a few times. Nice. And then option to float that leg to about hip height. Maybe point and flex the foot, rotate your ankle. Keep that back leg active. So flex the toes down to the ground and feel like you're trying to stomp the wall behind you. Opposite arm can reach forward here. Nice long body, even longer breath. You can hold in this shape, or as you exhale, start to round the back and draw the elbow and knee underneath the body. Maybe they touch. Inhale, reach it long. And on the exhale, find that round and curl. Couple more. Keep flowing, doing your best to move slow and intentionally here. Perhaps one more. Inhale to lengthen, and then exhale, curl. This time, inhale, reach it long. We're going to lower just the hand. Take the floating leg to the opposite side of the mat, and then look over. If your left leg is back, you're peeking over the right shoulder at the back foot. And see if you can stack your heel directly over your toes. Yeah, keep pressing through that heel. Breathing into the entire rib cage here, all 360 degrees. And then making your way back to center. Option of shake it out, just wiggle the body, cat and cow the spine, maybe some sideways cat cows. Nice. Then we're stepping the right foot straight back. Lengthen out that heel. You can press into the hands here. Let's go foot straight to the back to start. Toes on the earth. Maybe wake up the toes with some forward and back movement. And then optional, lift that leg to hip height. Swirl your ankle, point and flex your foot. And then keep those leg muscles working, toes flexing down to the ground, nice strong, pressing the hands into the earth, and then maybe the other arm reaches forward. You can be here, actively reaching, fingers and toes apart, or as you exhale, slowly round the spine, maybe elbow and knee come closer together. Inhale to reach, exhale and round. Keep it going, using those transverse abdominal muscles. Great for balance here. Once again, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. This time you're just going to reach it long. We're planting the hand and then taking the floating leg to the opposite side of your mat. Looking over the opposite shoulder toward that back foot. And noticing if you can stack your heel directly over your toes as you press the heel away from the body. You're grounding down through the hands, taking a full breath. And then gently release back to all fours, shake it out, do what you need, cat and cow. And then we're heading back to downward facing dog. So a couple breaths. Moving in down dog however you please. And if child's pose calls you, go ahead and take it. A few things you can play with in your down dog, maybe shifting forward to a plank position and back to down dog a few rounds. You can bend the knees a lot and then launch forward. And it is helpful to have feet hip wide here. So think enough space between your feet that you could fit your face between them. You can also add some rotation, maybe bend one knee and try to peek under the opposite armpit. So if I'm bending the right knee, I'm trying to look under the left arm. Couple more breaths. And then we're going to find just a moment in stillness here. So feel free to bend the knees a lot, lift your hips up and back. As you breathe in, we're gazing forward, walk the feet and hands closer together into a forward fold. You can bend your knees generously. Arms might cross at your elbows as the upper body hangs. It can feel good to add a little sway or gentle nodding of the head. And then gently release the arms. Slowly uncurl as you stack your vertebrae one by one. Head should be the last to rise here. We're adding our shoulder circles once you get to the top. And rotating the opposite direction. Yeah, start to feel the feet and the earth beneath you, and with a breath in, reach all the way around and up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Let's add a forward fold. Inhale, arms high. And then exhale, bend the knees, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, heart reaching forward, tailbone lifting up and back. Hands might be on the shins or they can slide high onto your thighs. Elbows can squeeze tighter to the body. Wake up those muscles along your back. Take another breath in and then fold forward as you exhale. Inhale, back to standing, reach up, maybe look up. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more time, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. As you exhale, fold once again. Inhale, back to standing, reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to your heart. We're taking it to a kneeling lunge next. Deep breath in. Exhale, bow. Inhale, halfway. As you exhale, hands come down, right foot steps back, and you can come onto the right knee. Hands can start on that front thigh. Chest nice and proud here. Now let's take both arms up by your ear. Notice if you can rotate the palms to the wall behind you. Pinkies spin in toward your center line. Take a breath in, actively reach up. And on the exhale, cactus the arms, open the chest. Nice. Once again, inhale, arms high. Elbows wide. This time, just an option. Inhale, reach up. And an option to bring the right hand to the nape of your neck, same side as that back leg. You might hold on to the tip of the top elbow and then lean a little to the left. Notice how it feels to keep pressing down through the feet. And maybe press your head into the upper arm. If you're feeling a little wobbly, take that front foot a bit wider. Couple breaths. And with an inhale, we're taking both arms high to the sky. And then exhale, let's bring that right hand down across from the front foot, turn toward that front leg. If you've got a block, you can use it underneath that bottom hand. If you want to straighten the back knee, feel free to tuck the toes. Couple breaths. And then exhale, release to downward facing dog, perhaps through all fours or direct to your dog. Breathe as you arrive. Inhale, gaze forward. Step the right foot forward, back knee down. Hands to that front thigh for your kneeling lunge. Nice. Once you got your setup, you're going to reach both arms up, palms face the wall behind you, pinkies rotate in toward your center line. Take another inhale, actively reach up. And then exhale, palms forward, elbows wide. Another round. Inhale, reach. Exhale, expand. Option to repeat that. Otherwise, inhale, arms up. And this time, left hand might come to the back of the neck. Option to grab that elbow. You can lift the chest here with a breath in and maybe lean a little toward that front leg. Couple breaths. Again, mind the balance here. Find a nice wide base if that feels helpful. And with an inhale, both arms reach up. This time, exhale, left hand comes down across from that front foot. You might stay here in a kneeling position or extend the back leg as much as you can. Spread the arms nice and wide. Notice if you're holding your breath, keep breathing. And then exhale, release back to downward facing dog, perhaps through hands and knees. And again, child's pose is your friend. Take a breath, take a moment at any point. When you're ready, coming in from down dog, you're going to lift the right leg up and back. Option to turn the front hip points to the long side of the mat with your legs straight or a bent knee. As you breathe in, look forward, gently place the foot between your hands. Back heel is going to come down and land in warrior two. So we're lunging in toward the front leg, arms floating over your ankles. Yeah, right foot forward if you're with me. We're going to extend the front knee and arms reach up to the sky. Exhale, bend the front knee, warrior two. Let's keep flowing. Inhale, reach. Exhale, warrior two. Again, deep breath in and breath out. Last one when you're ready. Keep the warrior two legs and reverse your arms. Right arm reaches up and back. Yeah, away from the bent knee. Feel that expansion on the right side rib cage with your breath. And then exhale to extended side angle. Maybe forearm on the front thigh, top arm by your ear. Notice if you can turn your chest away from the ground, similar to what we did with the belly when we were on the belly. With an inhale, you're going to rise back upright and then turn your toes to the long edge of the mat. Spin your heels in. We're going to play with some squats. Most of you have done these with me before. So inhale, arms reach up. And as you exhale, bend the knees, keep the chest proud and lower the hips. Yeah. Again, press through the feet, reach through the fingers. Exhale, sink it low, knees nice and wide. Again, deep breath in, reach up. Exhale, sink it low. Doing this one more time. Inhale, reach high. This time, optional hold with the squat low. You might just hold and breathe, or you can play with lifting one heel and lowering it. Other side, lift and lower. Yeah, maybe repeat that. Just the feet are moving here, hips stay low. And then burst open, star pose, take up space. Awesome, you're gonna turn to the top of the mat, cartwheel your arms down, step the front foot back. Maybe pause in your plank, and then with or without the knees, lower with control, down to the belly. Find your back bend, maybe Sphinx, Cobra, Up Dog, lots of choices. Activate your legs by pressing the tops of the feet into the earth. Notice if you can relax your shoulders away from your ears and feel as though you're trying to open this space across the collarbones by pulling the heart forward. Yeah, another breath. With an exhale, reset in downward facing dog. Take a moment in down dog. As you breathe in, lift the left leg up and back. Option to turn the hips open with that top leg straight or a bend in the knee. When you're ready, look forward and place the foot between your hands. Find your warrior two other side. So left knee is lunging toward a 90-degree bend. Back heel is grounded. When you're ready, adding those lunges with just the front knee bending and extending. Keep it going. Two more, moving at your pace here. Beautiful, last one. Now keep the legs in warrior two, reverse your arms. Left arm reaches up and away from the thigh. Feel that left side rib cage expanding. And then exhale to extended side angle. Forearm might be on that front thigh. Top arm rotating up by your ear, creating a long line from the back heel through the top fingertips. And as you breathe in, let's rise upright, turn the toes to the long edge of the mat, and then spin the heels in slightly. Another round of those squats. When you're ready, inhale, reach up. And then exhale, sink it low in the hips, knees nice and wide. Keep it going. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hips low. For two, inhale, arms up. Exhale, drop it low. Last one, optional, hold this one. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. Now, maybe hands come to the inside of your thighs. You can press right hand into right leg, dip the right shoulder, peek over the left. When you're ready, inhale, reach the heart forward, swivel the chest the other way. You can repeat that once again, each side, move in slow. Take a moment, wring out the body. And when you feel ready, we're coming back to star pose. Take up space, arms reach up. Turn to the top of the mat, arms cartwheel down, front foot shifts back. Option to pause in your plank and then lower with or without the knees, coming all the way to the belly. Maybe back to Sphinx pose or another back bend if you'd like. Or just a moment on the belly, take a few breaths. Doing your best to slow your breathing down. And there's a tendency here to kind of let your shoulders creep up by your ears. See if you can create space by pressing the forearms down. Yeah, a few breaths. You might choose to stay here. Another option is to play with locust pose. So arms can sweep by your sides, palms will face the ground. Front of the shoulders are rotating open away from the earth. And you might float your legs and try to squeeze the legs together as well. Maybe with an inhale, you're lifting the chest just a little bit higher. And then next breath out, release and reset. Downward facing dog. Maybe a moment on the belly or child's pose. Focus on those long exhalations. Couple more breaths. As you breathe in, lift the right leg up and back. And then exhale, plant the right foot between the hands, find your crescent lunge. So option one, you can have that back heel on the earth. Each foot has its own lane here. Alternatively, you're going to be high on the ball of the back foot. Hands might start on your hips. So think about lifting your front hip points, curling your tailbone under. Keep the hips nice and level, and then start to reach up. Palms face the wall behind you, pinkies rotate in towards your center line. Take another inhale. Okay. And then exhale, palms forward, elbows wide. Keep doing that. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, expand the heart space. Again, inhale, reach. And exhale, open. So this time, inhale, arms up. Let's spin the back heel down if it's not already, and perhaps clasp the hands behind your back. You can drive the knuckles down, peel the chest open, and again, opposite forearms or something to extend the reach is available. Otherwise, keep the chest nice and proud. Maybe just look forward and or come into humble warrior, hinging at your hips, bringing the right shoulder to the inside of the front knee, relaxing your head, and maybe lifting the arms a little bit higher. Doing your best to still breathe. As you're ready to come out of it, hands can come to the hips. You can reach, lift the chest rather. Maybe take warrior 1.5 facing that top left corner. And then exhale all the way back down to the ground. Option for your push up or skip it. We're meeting in down dog. Another breath. Now you know where we're going. So with an inhale, let's lift the left leg up and back. Exhale, plant the foot between your hands. Find your crescent lunge. So again, each foot has its own lane. Maybe back heel is rooted into the earth, or you're challenging the balance high on the ball of the back foot. Hands can begin on the hips. Find that lifting of your front hip points. It's almost like you're pulling the front of your suspenders up, tucking your tail. Then arms can reach up by your ears. Let's start with palms to the back wall, pinkies rotating in towards your midline. Another breath in, reach. And then exhale, elbows wide. Again, deep breath, reach up. Exhale, expand. Nice. Once again, inhale, arms up. And exhale, nice and wide. This time, inhale, reach up. Option to clasp the hands behind the back, maybe the weird way, and heel can come down if it's not already. Drive the knuckles down, lift the center of the chest, peel open the front of the shoulders. Maybe you stay here, still lunging in toward that front leg and or folding at the hips with your breath out. Front shoulder tucks in toward the inside of the front knee. Head is relaxed. Couple more breaths. Maybe the arms float a little higher. And when you're ready, we're slowly rising. Hands can undo and come to the hips. Chest faces that top right corner. Option for warrior 1.5. Arms reach up. And then exhale all the way down to the ground. Take the push up or skip it. Option to meet in down dog or a few breaths in child's pose. Come back to those long exhalations. Notice if you can make your exhales twice as long as your breath in. Yeah, another moment or so wherever you're at. And then gently shift forward. You're going to sweep your legs out in front of you. Come onto your bum. And once you're sitting up nice and tall, feel free to come onto a perch if that feels helpful. We're going to slide the right heel in toward the right glute and do your best to keep your spine nice and tall here. So instead of rounding and hunching, you're holding onto the shin, growing tall through the top of the head. You can keep the foot where it is. You can also cross it over the straight leg. If you want to take that straight leg and tuck it in, you can do that too. Otherwise, keep holding on to that top thigh. Turn in the direction of that top leg. Yeah, so to the right. You might bring the right fingertips behind the right hip and keep hugging that top thigh in toward you while trying to press the top leg away from you. If it feels good in your body, maybe take the gaze all the way over the back shoulder, even if it's just with your eyes. And a few more of those nice, deep belly breaths, even in your bind. When you're ready, we're going to inhale and take a counter twist. So low body stays the same, just rotate the upper body. And then gently release, face forward, take a moment, unravel, shake it out. And then we'll do the other side. So left heel in toward you, doing your best to keep the spine long and tall. Maybe that foot stays where it is, or maybe it crosses over the straight leg. And if you want to tuck that straight leg heel closer to you, you can. Yeah, let's rotate to the left to that top thigh. You might bring those left fingertips behind your hips. Keep squeezing that top leg in toward you and simultaneously press it away from you. Notice where you can breathe a little more space, perhaps those tiny spaces between the vertebrae and the spine. And slowly with a breath in, we're going to take our counter twist the opposite direction. And then gently release, face forward, shake out the legs. From here, you can bring one foot in toward the opposite thigh. We're going to keep a nice tall spine. So maybe fingertips start on either side of the hips. You can wake up the toes of the straight leg toward your face and take a moment to just soften the shoulder blades down the back away from the ears. You might stay here. You can also reach up with your inhale. And as you exhale, turn the chest to the straight leg and then fold forward. Hands can just frame that leg. You might take a halfway lift on the breath in, reach your heart closer to your toes, and then exhale, perhaps nose toward the knee. And just hold and breathe here. Slow, intentional breath. You're welcome to add a little bit of a twist. To do so, you're going to take the hand on the bent knee side and grab the outside edge of your straight leg, anywhere from your thigh, maybe the outer shin or the pinky toe. And you're going to use that connection to turn your chest and lengthen the heart even closer to the pinky toe edge of the straight leg. Yeah, other hand might just be an anchor on the outside of the straight leg here. Few breaths. You might choose to hold and breathe here a little longer. If you want to play with an arm balance, take your hand on the bent knee side, ground it behind you, start to roll onto the shin of the bent leg, press the front of the hips forward, activate the glutes, find a nice long line from the pinky toe to pinky finger. Maybe one more deep breath. And then take your time, rewind back to where you started, and let's switch sides. So option is keep fingertips behind the hips to encourage your spine to grow tall. Wake up the toes toward your face and relax those shoulder blades down the back. This is a great place to be, and you can also reach up with an inhale and then turn the chest toward the straight leg. Start to fold with your breath out. Perhaps take that half lift. Heart reaches toward the toes. And then exhale, fold a little more deeply. Just observe where you can soften. Sometimes we're tensing the muscles in our face unnecessarily. You want to play with that twist. You can take the hand on the bent knee side, grab the outside edge of the straight leg, wherever feels accessible, and then use that connection to pull on the leg and then kind of press the leg away from you, heart toward the pinky toe. And maybe hold and breathe here a little longer. Alternatively, release and then plant the hand on the bent knee side just behind that hip. Rock onto the shin of the bent leg. Find that nice long line, pointing the toes, reaching up through the top fingers, pressing the hips forward. And with an exhale, slowly rewind back to earth. And then option to bring the soles of your feet together here. You can have heels closer to the body. You can also create more of a diamond shape and maybe just rock a little bit in your sitting bones side to side. You can come back to those circles in the torso if that feels good. And just, yeah, take a moment to kind of play around here, see what the body needs. And if you like, you can stay nice and tall. Maybe fingertips come back behind the hips. Notice how it feels to actively press the center of your heels together and then maybe spread the arches of the feet, perhaps the toes as well. Continue to lift up through the chest and open the knees down toward the ground for just a couple of breaths. Staying upright in your body feels good. You can be here. If you do want to fold forward, you might re-grip and grab the shins, the ankles, perhaps use your elbows, encourage your knees even wider, and then encourage the toes closer to the feet or toes to the nose. Couple breaths. And then slowly rise back up with your breath in. We're going to roll all the way onto our back. As you arrive on your back, you might bring knees into your chest for a second, perhaps rock from side to side. Option to circle your knees a few times. And then let's bring both feet to the earth about hip wide, knees pointing up. We're going to take a supine version of pigeon. So my head might lift. I want yours to stay relaxed. You're going to cross the right ankle on top of your left thigh and then actively open that knee away from your body. Feel free to keep that bottom foot on the ground or thread the right hand between the legs, grabbing your left hamstring and pulling the legs closer to your chest. Might feel good just to remain at center and press your tailbone down toward the ground. You can also rock in your hips while squeezing the legs together. Take a few more breaths. You might even use your right elbow or hand to encourage that right inner thigh to open farther away from the body. And we're going to release both feet to the earth. Let's take the feet nice and wide, about as wide as your mat, and let the knees fall over to one side. You might reset the hands on your ribs and widen your elbows, and then knees can swish through to the opposite side. And a few rounds at your pace, feet wide, knees side to side. And perhaps after this one, set up for supine pigeon on the left. So feet about hip width, crossing left ankle on top of the right thigh. flexing that foot to protect the knee, and then opening the left knee away from you, maybe staying here or grabbing the back of the right hamstring or the shin, and then feeling the resistance between the top leg and the bottom thigh. Noticing your breath once again, slowing your exhales down, and maybe rock it out in the hips or choose to be still. few more steady breaths. Option to use the left elbow or hand to press the inner left thigh away from your chest. And then release, feet to the earth. Option to take your feet wide once again and swish your knees from side to side a few times. And if you prefer to just let the knees hang out on one side for a few breaths, that's great. Do what works best for you. Couple more breaths, that side to side option. Then we're going to play with a supine twist. So let's bring the feet to the earth, knees pointing up. For this one, just an option. You can cross your right thigh on top of the left, and then you're going to scoot your hips a little bit to the left, to the right edge of your mat. The right thigh on top, hips to the right edge of the mat, and then knees swivel all the way to the left. You can open your arms wide like a T with the palms up, and maybe take your gaze in the opposite direction of the knees. If you like the legs crossed and you want more, you can think about squeezing the legs together. And if you don't like it, you can undo it and just stack knees, hips, and ankles at a 90-degree bend. And just soak this up for those full breaths through the nose, up to the thigh, out the mouth. Notice if you can relax both shoulder blades, the direction of the earth. Couple more breaths on this side. And then slowly with an inhale, make your way back to center, uncross the legs. Maybe knees to the chest for a moment and rock from side to side or circle the knees. And then we'll set up for the supine twist on the left. So feet start grounded. Left thigh is going to cross on top of the right. You're going to scoot your hips a little bit to the left first, and then knees to the right edge of your mat. Arms can open like a T with your palms facing up. And we're taking those nice full breaths, doing your best to soften the backs of your shoulder blades back down toward the ground. And your call, if you like the knees together, you can squeeze the legs together for more intensity, or you can uncross the legs and just stack bones at the hips, knees, and ankles. A few more moments here. Listen to the body. As you feel complete, you're going to start to rewind back to your back and uncross the legs. Perhaps gently bring the knees closer to your chest. Option for that side-to-side movement in the hips. And if you want to take a round of happy baby, perhaps the knees widened, soles of the feet lift to the sky. You can hold on to your hamstrings, the inner shins, maybe closer to the ankles or the feet. And then let's rock side to side, embodying your happy baby. Maybe play around, straightening one leg, bending the other. And once you've had enough of that, last option here is to give yourself a hug. Arms can wrap around your legs, forehead to the knees. Give yourself some love. And then let it all go, finding your final relaxation pose. You might choose to extend your legs out long. Let the feet fall open. Arms can relax by your sides with the palms facing the sky. You might take one more deep breath in through your nose and exhale, let it go. And perhaps take a moment here just to observe the tone of the mind, the pace of the breath, and any sensations in the body. And just start to observe the body getting a little heavier with each exhalation. And I'll let you know when it's time. You feel ready, you can start with a deep breath down into the belly, and then slowly reintroduce some movement, waking up your fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Maybe you take a nice full body stretch with the ends of the hands, your deepest breath yet. And if it feels good, you might choose to bend your knees one at a time and start to roll over to your side, pausing in a fetal position. And you can slowly make your way back to a seat. And we'll conclude with just one more breath all together. As you start to find your long and tall spine, go ahead and empty all the air from the lungs. Take a deep breath in through your nose, maybe hands to the heart. and let your breath go. Thank you all for showing up and sharing your energy. Namaste.